It's Ken Harbaugh with the MeidasTouch Network. On Monday, during this speech at a General Motors facility in Michigan, Trump was loudly interrupted by a protester shouting, "Pedophile protector."
An automobile, something that no other president had the courage to ever do. He's a communist. He's a communist. We're running against communists. Now, this is great.
We don't yet know who the protester was, and it shouldn't surprise us at all that Trump's response was to call him a communist. But this isn't the first time someone has yelled this at Trump in Union country. At a Ford facility in January, a worker shouted the same thing, prompting Trump to respond with an obscene gesture. This kind of thing didn't happen in Trump's first term, at least in blue-collar settings like auto plants. But something is shifting. Now, I don't love the framing of this article, the use of the term uneducated, because I guarantee you most of the union brothers and sisters I know have more practical education than a lot of my law school classmates. But the polling behind the article is solid. Trump's approval rating with non-college educated white voters, which used to be one of his most reliable voting blocks, is plummeting. And in my corner of Ohio, you see that everywhere. The Trump signs are coming down. The MAGA hats are harder to find. I asked Brian Poindexter to join me to talk about this. He's a card-carrying union member in Ironworkers Local 17 in Cleveland, Ohio, and he's running for Congress against one of the Trumpiest incumbents there is. Brian's insights into why workers are turning against Trump and MAGA are enlightening. Here's our conversation. Brian, thanks so much for joining the show today. National polling has shown a steep downward trajectory for Trump's approval rating. National polling is one thing, though. Reality on the ground is something totally different. What are you seeing in the Ohio 7th when you're out knocking on doors, when you're at VFW and American Legion posts, when you're in the Union Hall? Is the sentiment on the ground actually reflecting what the national media is telling us?
Yeah, I think working people all across the spectrum, whether you're Democrat, Republican, or independent, whether you're a blue collar or white collar worker, people are feeling the pinch of an economy that has forgotten them. I think people are waking up to the fact that Trump hasn't kept many of his promises, especially as they pertain to workers. And, the golden age of, for workers, as he put it, it hasn't come to realization. And, Trump still has his diehard supporters, and that's their right. They can support whoever they want. But a lot of folks who are really feeling it in their wallets and at their kitchen table are looking for something different. And I hope to provide that for them.
One of the things I have noticed even about many of those diehard supporters, and I'm familiar with the district you're running in. A lifetime ago, I had some adventures there as well in the Ohio 7th. I'm not seeing the Trump signs in nearly the numbers that I used to, unless it's like painted on the side of a 18-wheeler or something, unless it's hard to take down. Most of those yard signs are gone.
Yeah, I actually made the same observation a few weeks back. We went to Ashland, Ohio for their annual balloon festival. And, it was a group, there was about 3,000 people there, scattered. It's a large area. And, halfway through the event, this is Ashland, Ohio. This is
I was there yesterday. I get it.
Traditionally deep red territory. And, and I didn't see a single MAGA hat, not one. I didn't see a shirt. Driving in there, coming in off 250 and taking the main roads in, I didn't see any Trump flags out. And I think people are really realizing that the rhetoric isn't working anymore. People want to see real results. They want to see the words match their wallet. And they're not right now.
I think there's also, keep going.
Oh, I was going to say, that's why I got in this race. I never wanted to run for Congress. I'm just a union Ironworker. I just want to go build buildings and help build my community as a city council member in Brook Park. But I see working families like mine and my friends and my family hurting, doing more and more work and getting less and less results for it. And I think that's the sentiment that's going to carry us in November. And I think that's, even the MAGA base is feeling it. So
it's one thing to see that MAGA base either turn on Trump. I mean, that's the ideal, or at least admit to themselves they don't want to be the last Trump defender or having to explain why they're still wearing the red hat. You don't want to be the last guy buying a ticket to, the band that nobody listens to anymore. That's one thing. Getting them to vote for a Democrat in deep red parts of Ohio is a different proposition altogether. How do you make the case? And look, maybe it's enough to win an election as a Democrat in these parts of Ohio to get the MAGA faithful to at least stay home. But when you talk to the 3-time Trump voter, are you getting any of them to give you a real chance, to give you a look?
Oh, yeah. Well, first off, I'm one who always likes to keep the door open. I don't want to slam that door shut. I'm never going to shame somebody for who they voted for. We're in a mess right now. A lot of it's due to Trump's policies and really Max Miller's support for those policies. But we all wanted something different. That's why Trump came to power to begin with, because, politics as usual wasn't working. Now we see that it was working better than it is now back then. But people are still craving that something different. And I think in me, they see that something different. I am just one of us. I'm somebody out of the workforce, somebody who knows the everyday issues. And I think, this district, it's traditionally a Republican district, but it's a district that Sherrod Brown wins, because Sherrod Brown really fights hard for workers. And, it's a hard-working district. Everybody in the district, whether you're a farmer or you work in a factory or you work in an office, we really pride ourselves in District 7 of being good, hard workers, that traditional Midwest work ethic. And I think you'll see people rally. They may not tell their friends and neighbors, like in the more red parts, that they voted for a Democrat, which is fine. Voting in America is a very private, very personal thing. And, if they don't want to come out loud and proud and say they support Brian Poindexter, that's fine. But I think you're going to see a lot of those folks who won't have to change their party affiliation, check the box next to my name, because I am just like them.
Hey, it's Ken. Quick break to let you know that I am heading back to Ukraine soon. So many of you stepped up to help the 34th Marine Brigade, the unit I've been embedding with the past couple years. They desperately needed a new motor for their rescue boat, and you came through. Thank you. There are so many other urgent needs, though. This unit is the one at the heart of the MeidasTouch and Valor Media film Drone Hunters of Kherson, and they're the ones defending that city every day against nonstop Russian drone attacks against civilians. I have seen them in action. I've been on patrol with them. This is actually the wreckage of a Russian suicide drone shot down by one of those teams. I've even been pinned down in a bunker with them as wave after wave of Russian drones hammered our frontline position. But because of the extraordinary heroism of people like Adama, commander of a drone team I embedded with, Ukraine will win this war. The more help they get, the faster that can happen. Units like the 34th are constantly having to make do with whatever equipment they can scrape together, which is especially challenging for a unit that operates attack drone teams, river assault crews, counter drone patrols. The 34th does it all. If you participated in the first fundraiser we held, thank you. I've just launched another one. This time, we're not capping the goal, which we hit practically overnight last time. If you can help out, please click the link in the show notes. Your support will save lives. Thank you. Max Miller, you brought him up. Your opponent, his main selling point to the districts seems to have been, I'm all in with Trump. Those policies are going to elevate the American worker. They're going to punish China. They're going to, throw out the bad guys. They're going to scapegoat immigrants. I mean, don't get me started. And it's not working. And it's all Max Miller has to go on, because on the character side of the ledger, I mean, the guy is a walking catastrophe, from the child abuse allegations to the lawsuits with his former partner who was a close ally of Trump. It's a disaster. How do you balance those two? I mean, you could take shot after shot at this guy's character, but he's also failed the district in terms of policy and helping people on the everyday kitchen table issues. What's your approach?
Yeah. Yeah, the personal stuff, I try to keep the personal stuff out of it. People can do their own research on that stuff, and I hope they do because, I think character definitely matters, especially from a representative. But I got into this race because his policies that he supports are terrible. I mean, he's voted numerous times to support the blanket tariffs that have driven up costs. He's voted numerous times for the war in Iran to continue that. That's driven up costs. All across the board, up and down, he has voted time and time again to support the policies that have made life harder for hardworking people in our district. And he said some very irrational things on the floor of Congress where his word had to be stricken by his own party. He's just unreasonable.
Can you give me? I didn't know that. Can you give me an example of that?
He went on a tirade against Rashida Tlaib, saying that she was a Hamas supporter and just went off the rails. Disparaging her and people in her district have the right to elect their representative too, and they chose her, and it's just unreasonable for somebody to go on the floor of Congress and say such terrible things that they have to be stricken from the record. I'm more reasonable than that. I don't care who's there with me. I am going to try my best to work with whomever is there to make sure we give relief to the hardworking families of not only our district, but the whole country. People are really hurting. You got farm bankruptcies right now. There's 140,000 private farms that are on the verge of bankruptcy across this country. You have over 100,000 people here in Ohio about to lose their health care because of the cuts to the ACA. Up and down every metric for working families, people are hurting. And the rhetoric and the hyperbole is not something we need right now. We need somebody who's going to go in there, put the time in, do the work, and really work together across the aisle. Whomever is sent there to represent, we have to work with them. And we can't be disparaging people on the floor of Congress.
You mentioned the war in Iran. I guess I'm a little surprised to hear that. I'm encouraged to hear it, that the voters of the Ohio 7th have a global perspective, especially on issues that affect them directly. What are they saying about it? What's the sentiment amidst all of this fake patriotic jingoism saying that we're defending America by bombing, a girls' school halfway across the world? What are your hopefully future constituents saying?
Well, people are realizing the parallels to when we invaded Iraq after 9/11. The weapons of mass destruction argument. It's just the same argument. Instead of a weapons of mass destruction, now it's nuclear program. Insert slogan here, and it justifies atrocities there. People in Ohio 7th are not stupid people. People in Ohio 7th have deep roots in the military. We're a hardworking community, and that's where your soldiers come out of, the hardworking class. People step up out of the working class to volunteer to serve their country, and rightly so, right? It's a very honorable thing to do. And we should be careful in putting them in harm's way over distraction and over rhetoric and hyperbole. And really, most importantly, a war that's so costly, and it's driving up the prices of fuel. It's driving up the prices of groceries. It's driving up the price of everything for a distraction, for the fact that this administration and this Congress has been inadequate for the working families of our district.
That was an excerpt of my conversation with Brian Poindexter. For the full interview, check out my Substack. The link is below. Thanks.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.